You want some brutal honesty? I'm gonna give you some brutal honesty. And believe me when I tell you, this is gonna hurt me just as much to say it as it's gonna be for you to listen to it. I'm gonna give you a rundown of the last 4 years of my trucking career. My last 4 years of this career have been horrendous. And I'm not gonna sit here and say it's all been the trucking industry's fault. It's not. Some of the things I'm about to tell you and discuss with you have been of my own doing, my own decision making. I've had to make a decision here or a decision there, and sometimes I've made the wrong call and I've had to pay a price. I'm gonna break some of this down for you. Hopefully somewhere down the line you do not make these choices and you'll have a long career. My hope here today is to save somebody, not the mass bunch of people, but just somebody, even if it just helps one of you guys. If you're a new owner operator, hopefully this will help you. Even if you're a guy that's been doing this for 20 years, at some point in your career, you're gonna be able to identify with some of the things that I'm gonna be talking about. And even if you haven't, or you've dealt with them differently, you'll be able to relate, you know what I mean? The previous X amount of years have been good. I've had a good career. I've had a good trucking career as an owner operator. For the most part, I've been successful. I've beaten and surpassed all of the hurdles and the year markers where most owner operators fail, and I'm still going. I'm still going strong, but I have made some choices in the last 4 years. Some things have happened to me in the last 4 years that have made it very difficult. And I've said this, I just said this earlier to somebody, that the trucking business is brutal. This is an absolutely brutal business, and it will beat you down to your knees, and it will hold you there and keep you there for as long as you let it. And you just have, the only thing to do in the trucking business is listen to the old timers, pick out the best advice that you can, get back up off your knees, and you keep plowing forward until the day comes when you realize that it is not worth it anymore financially and you get the hell out. Unfortunately, a lot of guys come to that point too late in their career, and their wife, their dog, their house, their savings are all gone. I'm not there. But the last 4 years have been pretty teetering. I've been teetering. I'm gonna take you back now to the beginning of where it started, the decline started, and that started in 2017. In 2017, I had 2 trucks. I had the truck I was driving, I had another truck it was running. I had an employee working for me, Mikey, great guy, became one of my best friends. But then Mike decided in 2017 that he didn't want to drive truck anymore. Now, I was in a position with the lease on this truck that I couldn't, it wasn't paid for, and it was still too far out for me to buy out. I didn't have that. So the lease on the truck was running, and Mike decided to retire. He gave me a month's notice, and that was fine. So for a month, for 30 days, I did everything I could to find another driver. I couldn't find another driver. Now, that's not to say I didn't have applicants applying for jobs, but I could not find somebody that I was comfortable with handing over $100 and something thousand worth of my equipment and my livelihood, and that I would trust them with. And that was the problem I had. I had lots of applicants, but nobody that was qualified to do the job or to the standard that I wanted them to do. And maybe that was mistake number 1 in my part. Maybe my standards were too high and I wasn't willing to be a little more flexible with who I would be willing to put in the truck. Mike retired and I had an empty truck. It's a mistake to have just 2 trucks. And the reason being you don't have 2 trucks is because if you've got 2 trucks and 1 breaks, 1 truck working can't cover 2 truck payments. You always have 3 or more. If you got 3 trucks and 1 breaks, 2 trucks running can cover 3 trucks. So that was another mistake I had. I should have had 3 trucks, and we did look at that, but it didn't work out. So here I was stuck with this truck, and then now I've got options. I've got a few options, but they're not great. I can try to sell the truck, take the money, buy it out, pay it out, whatever. I can hand the truck back in, or I can try to find a driver. I can let it sit for a couple of weeks, couple of months, whatever, and try to find a driver. Bad mistake on my part, number 2, is I was getting frustrated and I let emotion get involved in business, which I don't generally do. Business is business. You ask anybody that knows me, business is business, pleasure is pleasure. I don't mix the 2 of them. It does not happen. Unfortunately, I let my emotions get the better of me, and I wanted to wash my hands of this whole thing. I handed the truck back in and I ate the penalty. Now the penalty on this was upwards of 24 something thousand bucks that I had to stroke the check for. That hurt. So that put me back. I had money in the bank, but that pretty much wiped me out. So I was starting with a zero bank account again in 2017. For the 2017 year, that hurt, okay? And that kind of took me downhill. And then right as 2017 was over, I'm thinking, okay, I'm climbing back up. Money's going back into the bank. I'm kind of recovering from this. I've dug myself out of this hole. March of 2018, what happens? I've told this story 100 times. I'm on the QEW, I hear a clunk, I hear a bang, I blow the motor out of the Volvo. I do not need this headache and this hassle. And at that point there, another decision has to be made. Looking back on it now in hindsight, I should have just left the truck where it laid, walked away, and got out of the business. That's what I probably should have done. What did I do? You guys are gonna kill yourself laughing when you hear what I did, okay? I didn't have the 42,000 bucks for the truck. I wasn't willing to pull the money out of my RSPs and my retirement. That's just not gonna happen. So what did I do? I still had 13 months left of payments on the truck. So we rolled the $42,000 worth of truck engine into the payment left over on the truck, reworked the deal for another 3 years. So now I'm gonna have a 2014 truck in 2018 that I'm gonna have for another 3 years. So I'm gonna have leased out for another 3 years. So I'm gonna have it till 2021. By the time I'm done with this truck, it's gonna be worth about $10. Right now it's financed. At this point now, it's financed for more than it's not even worth that much, right? The financing, I owe more than it's worth. If I sold it tomorrow, I'd still owe another $40,000. Bad decision number 2. That really hurt. So what did I do? We financed. And then, you know what they say at the top of the hill, shit just rolls downhill, and it just kept coming. I had, in the span of 2018, between 2018 and 2019, I put 4 sets of injectors, DPF filter, EGR cooler and valve. And this is while I'm running. I'm constantly running, I'm constantly making money, but I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not getting ahead. The whole time I'm running to break even. Well, people, if you're in business for yourself, you're in business. You're not there to break even. You're there to make a profit. You're there to make money. And I was making jack. Okay, after everything got paid, there were some weeks where there was nothing to pay me. Truck got paid, the shop bill got repaid, fuel got paid, everything got paid. And by the time I was done, I had enough money to go buy a Tim Hortons double-double, and that was it. And it was rough. And it just carried on. I was in a position where I couldn't sell the truck. That bad decision is like dropping a pebble in a pond. All those ripples. I made that bad decision to finance that truck, to re-roll that financing. That's the pebble dropping. And all the ripples, okay, these are all of the things, because I made that bad choice, all of the other things that went wrong, well, that's just part of doing business. You're gonna have breakdowns, you're gonna have problems. Because I put myself in that bad position, I paid for it down the line. So 2018, motor blows up. 2019, I probably had another, I would say $25,000 worth of engine work, but it was all emissions, all the emission stuff, plus the rad blew, put a rock through the rad, blew the air charge cooler, or charge air cooler. If it wasn't for bad luck, I'd have had no luck. You can't blame everything on bad luck. You have to make the decisions when you're faced with a choice. Some of them I've made were right, some of them I've made were wrong. Never, ever, ever roll financing of a repair into a job, into your financing for your truck. Find another way. If you got to roll $40,000 into your truck payment and repackage that just so you can truck down the road, don't truck down the road. Don't ever, ever, ever do that. That was the worst mistake I ever made. And I don't care if you sit and laugh at me for doing it. I'm telling you this because somewhere down the road or somewhere out there, some of you have either done it or some of you are in a position where you're gonna be faced with that problem. And I don't want you to do it. Find another way. Legally, find another way. Or hang it up, get out of it, come back in later down the road, but don't do that. The 2019 year, emissions, problems, but I'm not making enough money. I'm making enough money to cover everything and get out of it. Finally, the 2020 year, I'm getting to the point where, okay, the truck is paid down now to the point where it's break even, okay? The truck is worth almost what I paid, what I've got outstanding on it, but I can no longer afford to run this truck. I mean, every single trip, as my dispatcher can attest to, every single trip I'd pull out of this terminal, I'd have a check engine light, I'd have a problem, I'd be something, and it was just too much. I had no choice. So I was at the break-even point, and that's why I did what I did with the Kenworth. I was able to sell the Volvo, got it sold, money in the bank, bought the Kenworth, didn't owe anything on it, bought it outright, and now I'm running the Kenworth. I've got the W9. I'm hopping all over the place, and this is really hard for me to do because I really don't want all of you people to know my business. But at some point, there's gonna be somebody out there that don't feel bad for me. I don't want you to feel bad, and that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm laying this out there that some son of a bitch out there does not have to go through this. I don't want anybody else to go through this. There's no reason why, if you do it right, and I say that a lot, if you do it right, you don't have to go through this. I made some bad choices. These are the decisions that I made, and these are the bad choices that I made. Hopefully, by me telling you what I did wrong, it's gonna help somebody out there, and I really hope it does. The 2020-21 year, I've now got the Kenworth. Mechanically, it's a great truck. I love it. It's fantastic. But I do have to get out of it. I'm gonna say medical reasons, I guess. I've got some ailments and problems that, like I said, I thought I could live with that truck. I can't. So I'm gonna be selling, or probably somewhere, and I'll be making another video of why I'm getting out, and I'll show you why I'm getting out of the truck. It's no big deal, but it's just causing me a lot of pain and grief physically, so I'm gonna have to do that. So where am I sitting right now in 2021? Well, on a financial level, I've been able to make some recovery. I'm not, $100,000 in the hole with no light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not $100,000 in the hole anyway, but I've accrued a little bit of debt, a little bit more than I'm accustomed to carrying, but it's okay. I'm still working. Physically, I'm still able to do my job. So I'm still working, and as long as the truck is healthy, I'm still generating money. What I'm looking at in the future is I'm looking at a couple of options, and I'm not 100% sure. This is a life-changing, a life-altering decision of what I need to do. I've gone so far as to, I might just retire from driving altogether. Just get out of it. Some of you know how I feel about how the industry's changed. This is the trucking business, and being a truck driver is not what it was, 10, 15, 20 years ago. We're not looked upon as heroes anymore, or we're just not. There's no other way to say that. We are looked upon as less than these days. For me, with the amount of years I've been doing this now, I'm finding it hard to find the enjoyment in it. Do I enjoy doing this job anymore? Sometimes, yeah. There's some days I get up, I start my truck, I get out, I look out my little fishbowl window at the world around me, and I'm having a great day. But I'm starting to see that the days of good days and great days, and the fun in the job, and the things I used to love about this job and this industry, they're not as many as they used to be. The down days and the dirty side of this business and the side of this business is starting to raise its head a little more than I'm comfortable with. Now, again, some of that could also be that the mood that I'm in, because of the position that I'm in, because of the decisions that I've made. I could turn around, and another decision I might make is I might just say, piss on it, let the truck be somebody else's problem, become a company driver. But on that level, would I be happy? I have to look at that. Would I be happy working as a company driver, whether it be with ET or with anybody else? I know what comes when you're a company driver. You do not have the freedoms and the things that I do enjoy as an owner-operator. I don't have those as a company driver. So I might look at that. That's something I'm going to look down each avenue. An opportunity has been offered to me to take a lease op job. I might look at that. Do I want to do that? I'm not 100% sure. I don't know how comfortable I am as a lease op with somebody like that. The last option that I'm looking at and exploring would be to come out of the truck, but stay in the trucking industry and come into the office. I've got several years of office work. Many years ago, I was injured on the job and I had to get out of my truck. We put a driver in the truck, but I was the company I was with was good enough to bring me into the office. And for 2.5 years, I worked in the office, dispatching, planning, coordinating, operations. In 2.5 years, I went through that whole office, and I was like a sponge. I learned as much as I could because I was able to take a lot of that back out on the road with me. But now I can turn that around. I can take, okay, I've got all these years of owner-operator, and never mind just being an owner-operator, but all these years as a truck driver, I can bring that into the office. And to somebody, that's going to be valuable, and they're going to be willing to pay for that. I'm going to bring an asset to somebody, and you know, I might just do that. So that's where I sit today. I've made some bad decisions. I'm slowly coming out of it right now. Hopefully I don't make any more bad decisions between now and then. If I do, I'm sure I'll be taking my wife's boot out of my ass because, Jesus, I made some doozies. I'm recovered. I'm recovering. It's not going to take me long. I can get out of this, and I'll be okay. And just know as well, if you're willing to work, there's the one thing that nobody's ever been able to accuse me of being lazy. I'm always willing to work. I've always, from the day I've been born, I've been willing to work, and I've been willing to fight for it. And if you've got that fight in this business, in the trucking business, and you're willing to work, and you've got the willingness to learn, be willing to learn. Listen to the old guys that have been doing this as long as I have, or longer than me. Talk to the guys that I talk to that have been doing this for 45 years. Those are the guys that are still trucking. Those are the guys you want to take your advice from. And as long as you're willing to take your advice, learn, keep an open mind, and be willing to put the time in, you got a good chance. You got a fighting chance. Even in 2021, this business is a dirty business. Right now, our business is in a transitional stage. It's changing so quickly. I don't know how the hell we're keeping up with it, but we are. And as where I stand right now, I've just laid all my cards on the table. That's what I'm probably looking at doing over the next couple of months, maybe in the next year. If you're a new guy or girl and you're thinking of coming into this business and you're listening to this, don't think it's all and it's all hell and your life's gonna be rotten and it's not. I've had a lot of good years. And even though I've gone through the last 4 years of hell, if you wanna call it, and made some bad choices, there has been a light. You know, I've got a light at the end of the tunnel and I can see that light. There's a couple of things, and this is the way I look at it, okay? First and foremost, I've got a great family, okay? My family has supported me. Anything that I've wanted to do within reason, you know, my wife and my kids and my family, they've been on board and they've said, you know what, Dad, give it a hell. My wife has always said to me, Bri, if you can make money doing it, have at it, son, get it done. And she's been very supportive. And I've been very lucky. I know guys whose wives have said to them, absolutely not, that's not happening. Sell the truck, get rid of the keys, go get a job, something else. My wife has never put those screws to me. She has always said to me, do what you gotta do, get the job done, but she's always been supportive. So that's a light at the end of the tunnel. I've got a great family and I've got a great support system. I've got some great friends. What's going on? Well, I just got into an argument with a dispatcher. I just got this. You know, it wasn't my dispatcher's fault. I was being a dick because I was grumpy and I was in a bad mood because the check engine light came on. It's not the dispatcher's fault. But I've got a good support system. I've got a good support network there. As for the business part of this, there is a light at the end of this, okay? Like I said earlier, that I'm slowly coming out of this. I'm making money. There's money going into the bank. There's more going in than there is coming out. And I guess at the end of the day, that's kind of what you want. Is it the level of money that I want or that I'm accustomed to? Not yet, but it's getting there. Slowly, it's getting there. I figure, you know, if I run this another year, another couple of years, I don't know. Like I said earlier, I've got some decisions to make and to see which way I want to go. If I decide to stick with trucking, it's going to be because I need something to rekindle the love and give me back that fire. I was one of those guys, and I still am one of those guys, that when I find something I really like, I grab hold of it, it lights a fire, it burns under my ass, and I go. I will give you the best that I've got, and you will get the best that I've got. And I'll give it to you, you know, because I love doing what I'm doing. And I need something, I think I'm at one of those impasses right now. I need something again that's gonna light that fire. And I haven't found it yet. I know what I used to be like. I know what used to get me ramped up and let's go and balls to the wall, 300 miles an hour, hair on fire, let's have a great time, tear up the highway. I'll find it. There's something there. There's something I'm missing or something I haven't found yet or something that somebody hasn't presented me with yet. I'll find it. And when I do, y'all be the first to know about it. I was gonna say younger drivers and guys and girls to come in, but that's not necessarily true, because I got friends of mine, or I know guys as well, that this is their second career. You know, I got a buddy of mine, he worked for Bell Canada for 30 years. Came right out of high school, worked for Bell Canada, worked for 30 years. He was 50 years old. He retired from Bell Canada, went and got his A license, and now he's trucking. Loving it, having a blast. Good for him. That's what we need. This business needs more owner operators, but we need the support and we need the help, and we need channels like ours that aren't out there trying to make money or try to exploit or trying to recruit. They're trying to help. There's our channel, and there's a couple other channels out there that are really good for what we're doing. And as for, we're trying to unite and give as much free information as we can to as many people as we can, which will give you as many options as you can, so that when it comes time for you to make decisions, you've got the information that you need up front to make the right choice. And that's where I'm going with this video. I just want anybody to make the right choice. I don't want anybody to go what I've had to go through in the last 4 years. I've bared my soul and I'm very uncomfortable doing it. So I hope you appreciate it. I'm gonna cut it out now, so give me a like. You better subscribe after all the crap I just told you. New owner op or seasoned vet, it doesn't matter to me. As long as it helps one person not make the bad choice, then I've done my job, and I'm glad, and you're welcome. You know what? Give us a like, leave us a comment. I do read the comments. And subscribe to the channel if you like what you see. We would appreciate it. Keep the wheels on the ground. Keep the roof under the bridges. Don't take nothing home to mama that itches.